But it's the Aggies controlling the opening tip, and A.J. Harris runs the points. Aggies averaging 78 points per game, and we get a moving screen right out of the gate on C.J. Bobbitz. Randy McCall, Michael Irving, and D.G. Nelson are three officials.
Well, it's something there's a big point of emphasis on controlling screens this year, it seems like. It seems like each game that's been called closely. And for good reason on that last play.
Chris Jans' biggest issue with his team's struggles last week was the defense. The Aggies had a gauntlet string of practices leading up to this game as far as defense is concerned. They forced Michael Finke into a miss, but it's a putback for Oscar Freyer.
We talked about Freyer before the game, Adam. Well, maybe one of the best leapers in the conference.
Meanwhile, Dan Marley's really happy with his team's defense. They've held 5 straight opponents under 65 points. They've been winning on defense. A.J. Harris to Keon Jones. That's good.
Well, this is one of the strengths of Chris Jans' team and his coaching philosophy is everybody plays a part. Now here, Keon Jones, he's only playing 10 minutes a game, and here he is starting in a huge game for the Aggies.
Must be nice in January if you play well in practice, Coach. You get some minutes in the game and sometimes a start. Here's Finke rejected by Jones. A foul is called though, and Chris Jans is furious.
Well, interesting move. They double team Alessandro Lever and paid the price.
Here's grad transfer Michael Finke, who connects on the first free throw.
I think Chris Jans is furious at the defense, not the call.
Finke from Champaign, Illinois, also played at Illinois. Gets one of 2. I was told before the game he's one of Lou Henson's favorite players the last couple of years.
Well, and I'll bet Lou Henson's one of his favorite coaches.
I bet so. Bobbitt on the bounce, gets around Finke. Offensive rebound for Aore Coachea.
Spain against Italy right there for a huge game, huge matchup with Spain and Italy there.
And it looks like those two guys are going to match up on both ends, Coach. Laver's a handful. Finke looking for Laver. Laver gets a touch. Aggies double again. Right back to Laver. Double team was late. Trying to kick it out to Freyer. Only 6 to shoot. Freyer shallow. Cleared by Aore Coachea. Harris will trigger. That was blocked. Good defense by Freyer, who's 6'7". Pick and pop for Laver, who has that range, but he's too long on the 3. Zamora bump, no call. Finke's wide open. The Aggies finally get back, and then Finke lays it in. Michael Finke, 6'10" transfer from Illinois. Harris swings it wing to wing for Bobbitt. Jones looking for Aore Coachea. Catches it way away from the rim. Sticks it in. They're not going to count it though. D.G. Nelson waves it off. It's on the floor, no shots.
Well, I think Alessandro Lever has a 2-inch height advantage, and he's a much better three-point shooter. But is there a tougher player in America, or Spain for that matter, than Ivan Aore Coachea? I don't think so.
I'm a little surprised they did not count that, Coach. It seemed like he probably should have got continuation on that made basket. Johnny McCants just checked in. So did Terrell Brown. Zamora double team. Brown averaging 20 in his previous 2. Here's a pull-up for Harris that is way short. And it's picked up by Finke. The Aggies only shot 31% last Thursday in a tough loss at California Baptist. Finke right back to Laver. He attracts a lot of attention. Here is Trey Drexel, who misses the 3. And that's rebound number 2 for Aore Coachea. Koachea.
Well, that's when A.J. Harris, I think, is at his best. Beautiful pass by A.J. Harris. When you know, all the Aggies have been like that all year, looking to pass first and shoot second.
Harris had some of his best games last year against Grand Canyon, scored 20 against GCU in the WAC title game. On the backdoor cut, the finish for Western Washington transfer Trey Drexel. You don't see too many Division I players succeeding that transferred in from a D2, but Drexel's having success. And a foul is called on Freyer of Grand Canyon. We expect this one to be a close one. It's kind of been a rivalry building the last couple of years. Grand Canyon looking for their first ever win in Las Cruces. We're deadlocked at 7.
Haskins announced to the team that we're not shooting any three-pointers this year. Well, that was quite a, that's a very different. Now, of course, you almost can't help it. Accidentally, we're going to put up a couple. But I think things have evolved over the years. I got out of coaching in 2000, but I think there's much more dependence on it, much more confidence in it. And partly I blame Steph Curry, who makes everything. Guys like Steph Curry and Durant make it look so easy to shoot threes.
Who was the best three-point shooter you ever coached?
Well, I would say Eric Channing, without question, the leading scorer in New Mexico State history. But you know who wasn't far behind from that same team was Brad Bester. Brad was much more limited. Eric Channing was a great all-around player, but we had two terrific shooters, and they got screen after screen from Aaron Brote from Phoenix.
Aggies bring in Sean Buchanan out of the timeout. Grand Canyon brings in Jared Martin. And Buchanan's pass is tipped and stolen. 1-on-2 for Drexel. And a foul is called. This one is on the ground. Drexel had 2 white jerseys draped around him after the Buchanan turnover. Carlos Johnson checks in for GCU. He's going to trigger in here. Transfer from Washington, who played for the Huskies last year, immediately eligible. Martin connects from 3, only his 6th made 3 during his senior campaign.
And that's a tough shot. And not so much that it wasn't open, but just sort of the hesitate, pump fake, and that kind of thing. There's not many guys who can make that shot.
Brown goes away from the Chua ball screen. Zamora on the hesitation. Quick first step, shot no good, putback is good with the offhand for Johnny McCants. Both coaches will play a lot of guys. Grand Canyon has 6 players averaging 8 points per game or more. The Aggies with 6 averaging between 8 and 11. Milstead runs over McCants, and that's a charge on Damari Milstead.
Well, Johnny McCants doing a little bit of everything. He's taking charges and making layups.
Trev Queen now in for the Aggies. Transfer from New Mexico Military Institute, who's played sparingly this year since becoming eligible. Buchanan hands it off to Queen, who can score in a hurry. Queen to Chua. He runs over a defender, and that's a charge. So a charge on both ends.
Boy, Martin took a hard shot to the head there.
Outside the restricted area, got to the spots. That's a good charge drawn there by Jaron Martin, who's playing well off the bench. Dan Marley just brought in Roberts Blumbergs, big man from Latvia, who's missed the previous 3 games. He was eligible, he was ready to go, but he did not play. Carlos Johnson posting up Queen. Good pump fake. And Carlos Johnson, who shoots 79% from the free throw line, will shoot a pair.
Well, and Chris Jans is very angry about that. We talked before the game about the guards posting up. I think it's something they've worked on hard. And if we're going to let the guards get it to 2 feet away, they're going to be able to score. And Carlos Johnson, thick and strong.
This is where their size can really be a problem. You mentioned Johnson, thick and strong. He's 6'3", 215. Drexel 6'6". The man who just checked in, Tim Finke, he's a 6'6" guard. So they have long, thick, lanky guards.
That's right. There's not a skinny guy among them.
Grand Canyon goes ahead by 3. Both head coaches, Dan Marley and Chris Jans, going very deep into their benches, which is not unusual. And Eli Chua is going to shoot 2. If you recall last year in this building, Alessandro Laver fouled out with about 15 minutes left in the game, and then Dan Marley really didn't have many options. This year, more depth for Grand Canyon. Chua, 73% free throw shooter, and Chris Jans is trying to figure out a rotation, trying to cut back on how many guys he uses, but right now it seems like players 6 through 13 are pretty similar.
That's right, and I think that it's one of the things that has changed over the years is because of the 3-day tournament, 3 games in 3 days to win all across the country, depth has become very important. Whereas I think in the old days, teams could go 6 deep.
Buchanan finds Brown in transition. Bingo! No surprise, it was Sean Buchanan who forced the turnover. Carlos Johnson has 4. A.J. Harris on the bench, so Buchanan runs the point. A foul away from the ball on Blumbergs, who once again did not play in the previous 3. But he sees some early minutes here tonight. That was an outstanding steal for Buchanan and finds Brown, who's the best 3-point shooter for the Aggies. Aure Coachea comes back in for Chua. Already we've seen the big men play better. The big men really struggled for the Aggies against California Baptist. We've already seen improved play about 7 minutes in.
That's right, and I think it was a big wake-up call in California.
Brown to McCants. A lot of minutes early for Trev Queen. McCants hard to the rim. Acrobatic layup is good, +1. He looks like an NBA player, coach, with those long steps.
And what body control by Johnny McCants. Oñate High School's own, right here in town.
A.J. Harris back in for Buchanan. McCants has improved his free throw shooting, 50% this year, just 37% last season. Grabbed a season high 16 rebounds last Thursday. Queen using his length, but it's Jared Martin who picks it up. They swing it for Johnson, long 2. Brown will start the break. Aggies with numbers. Harris, extra pass for Queen. Drexel's a big guard at 6'6". He barrels over Johnny McCants, and that's offensive.
Second time Johnny McCants has done that tonight.
That'll make Chris Jans happy. I was talking to A.J. Harris last night during the radio coaches show. I said, how was practice the last week? He said, it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
It was intense.
That seems to be the same song that everyone has been singing this week.
In fact, Chris Jans said last night, he goes, I'm in an 0-1 mood, so my guys should be in an 0-1 mood right now. Referencing conference play. Carlos Johnson, they're going to count it, and 1 for the UW transfer.
Well, this surprised me, Tim Finke going 2-on-3, but he made it work. I would have thought he was going to pull the ball out, but his instincts were a go for it, and it paid off. Beautiful pass to Carlos Johnson.
Johnson, a nice spark off the bench again. He has 6.
And usually, Adam, I will point out, it's usually the older brother telling the younger brother what to do, but in this case, Tim Finke signed at Grand Canyon before the older brother did. It was one of the more interesting stories in college basketball this year, the Finke brothers from Champaign.
And they're both on the floor right now in Grand Canyon's in a 2-3 zone. Harris to Keon Jones. Already has 1 3, make it 2 for the senior from Massachusetts. That's how you bust a zone, right?
Well, in theory.
You would have to think, too, this Grand Canyon length could really cause problems in his own defense. Johnson to Drexel. Here's Michael Finke. Johnson again. That one pinballs out, and Keon Jones tracks it down to the corner. The trailer is Bobbitt. Right back to Harris. Floated down low to Aore Koachea, who goes to work. Bobbitt was crashing hard. Hard landing for Bobbitt and for Drexel. And Aore Koachea slow to get up. It looks like everybody's okay as we go to break. NM State ahead by 3, 9 minutes in. Adam Young and Russ Bradford on hand at the Pan Am Center, the conference home opener for the Aggies here tonight. They lead by 3 against Grand Canyon. Well, earlier this week at his press conference, Chris Jantz talked about the much needed of practice after the loss to California Baptist.
Normally when we lose in the heart of the season, I'd rather play pretty quickly to try to get that taste out of our mouth, but I felt like we needed a week to, go back to the basics and go back to teaching our fundamentals, especially defensively, to try to everybody get on the same page and not worry so much about an opponent and scouting and their personnel and their plays and their out-of-bounds plays and, their fast break alignment, et cetera, and just focus on New Mexico State and getting better, kind of like you do in the fall leading up to the games.
C.J. Bobbitt picked up the foul before the break. It was C.J.'s 3rd. So Trey Drexel shooting 1 in the bonus. Transfer from Division II Western Washington, who averaged 13 per game in his career at Western Washington. He's averaging 10 points per game this year for Grand Canyon. And the lead for the Aggies is down to 1. NM State going with Aore Koachea, Zamora, Harris, McCants, and Keon Jones, who's drained 2 threes. Aore Koachea with the ball screen. Harris double teamed, trying to throw it down low, picked up by McCants, who lays it in. They'll count it +1. Some garbage points for Johnny McCants. Well, it wasn't pretty. It was a good idea there by A.J. Harris to try to look for the rolling Aore Koachea. And eventually it's McCants who grabs it and puts it in for 2. That foul was called on Michael Finke. It's number 2 on him. Blumbergs has 3 for GCU. So a couple of big men in foul trouble right now for the Lopes. Jared Martin trying to feed it down low to Laver. Kicked away by Johnny McCants.
Well, McCants is doing everything, including kicking the ball.
This was one of the big points of emphasis for Chris Jantz coming into this game is you need more production on both ends out of the big guys. The Aggies have a trio of big guys they use: McCants, Chua, Aore Koachea. Drexel's off the mark, and McCants clears. Here's Aore Coachea, Spain versus Italy. With the left hand, no good. Snatched in by the 6'6" Drexel. Laver, backdoor to Drexel, leans into Zamora, blocked away by JoJo. Harris to Jones, looking for his third three. Look how high Frere got on the board.
Boy, he can really sky. It's a different world for Drexel, though. I think he's probably still making the adjustment from Division II. He's had a terrific year up to this point, but
pull-up jumper is short for Damari Milstead. I would have to think, Coach, one of the big transitions is the speed of the game and how physical it is. I mean, those are two different worlds, like you said, between Division II and Division I, speed and physicality.
That's right, and as you pointed out, not many people make the leap that Drexel's made from Division II to Division I. It's usually the other way around.
Taking pop for Laver, who's been quiet early. Nothing for Laver, who averages a team-high 15 per game.
And he's scoreless, and you've got to give Big Yvonne credit for that.
He plays like an international big man, likes to shoot it from deep, can pick and pop with the best of them. Finesse around the rim. Doesn't really rebound much. Queen's jumper is short. And the rebound in the hands of Damari Milstead. Frere preseason all-conference. Kind of off to a slow start this year, though, only averaging 8 points per game. Cutting, catching, and slamming is Carlos Johnson. My goodness.
My goodness is right.
Ball screen from Chua. Wide open is Queen, who's been off the mark so far. Misses again. Fight for it. And we're going to get a jump ball in possession. Will point to Grand Canyon. So it's Lopes ball when we come back. Still tight, 21-20. NM State ahead by 1. 10 ties, 3 lead changes in half of 1. First home game in 22 days for the Aggies. First road conference game for Grand Canyon. They're looking for just their second true road win this year. They beat Northern Iowa in Cedar Falls in non-conference play, which is pretty darn good road win. Northern Iowa, not an easy place to go to, but Dan Marley's team has struggled on the road the last couple of years.
And he's got a couple new pieces that he's still playing with here, I think. The big story tonight is the Italian Alessandro Laver has been very quiet, and we've got to give the Aggie big men credit for that, I suppose.
Laver still scoreless, averaging a team-high 15 per game. It's been Carlos Johnson leading the way for GCU. He has 8. Keon Jones, 6 for the Aggies. McCants with 6 as well. To Milstead in the corner. You can tell the Lopes are looking for Laver. Now they give it to him. And he gets called for a charge. Lowered his shoulder on Eli Chua. He never really found a rhythm in this building last year, Coach, and then he fouled out early on in the second half, but he did play well against the Aggies with 20 points in the WAC title game.
And this is exactly the right call. Eli Chua right where he's supposed to be.
That's the first on Laver. Clayton Henry seeing his first minutes for the Aggies. Zamora was trying to enter it for Chua, and it was stolen away by GCU. Here's Johnson. Spun around. Somehow no traveling. It's going to be Aggie ball anyway. You can kind of tell that Carlos Johnson has that ability to play at the next level. He was getting a lot of minutes at Washington in the Pac-12 for a couple of years.
Yeah, and he looks like he's jammed his wrist there when he came off the floor at him. He's very tentative, holding his hand up. The trainers are checking him out there on the Grand Canyon bench. Hope he's okay.
Drexel comes in for Johnson, one transfer for another. Aggies have missed 6 of their previous 7 from the field. Harris looking for a ball screen from Chua. He won't use it though. Uses his right hand to lay it in and one.
Well, it's been dozens of times this year where A.J. Harris uses his right hand to make a driving shot, and there's just another example. Pretty good body control, huh?
Young man from Dayton, Ohio, transfer from Ohio State, committed to Ohio State when he was a high school freshman. He's had quite the Aggie career, averaging a team high 11. Here's Drexel, look for the pick and pop. Chua kind of sagging off Laver, who chooses to fall away. That's an international move, isn't it?
Yes, and not the move you'd think that he'd use as a go-to move to get his first basket. It's kind of fading off of one foot.
Brown wide open. Can't leave him open. 2 made threes for Terrell Brown.
And that was an NBA distance 3, but it was so wide open. He could kind of click his heels and take his time.
NM State 4 of 9 from 3. Grand Canyon's just 1 of 6. Freyer wants a 3. Got it. Oscar Freyer shoots 35% from bonus distance. Some bigger guards are guarding Harris today. Brown kept his foot down. Floater is short.
Well, he looked a little tentative there. I'm not sure if he was completely confident in what he wanted to do.
Laver pick and pop again, and he's way off on his threes. He shoots 34% from 3, so usually pretty good. And the Aggies are having issues with the length and the post entries.
That's right. They're struggling with getting the ball over a taller team than what they're used to get it into the low post.
Keep in mind here, Harris 5'9", Terrell Brown is 6'1". Those are the Aggie guards right now. Drexel is in for Grand Canyon as a guard. He's 6'6". Freyer's a guard. He's 6'7". And then Tim Finke, 6'6", another guard. So these guys are long. Laver has 1 foul. Chua's going to work on it and then throws it out to Brown. Brown with an opening. Floater no good again. And it's tapped out to Harris. Brown from the corner. He got it.
Wow, Terrell Brown. Boy, if you give him that much space, he seems like he's deadly with that much time and space.
Aure Coachea and Buchanan coming in for the Aggies, replacing Chua and Harris. Terrell Brown now 3 of 3 on trades. He's the Aggie leader in points. And he's averaging 20 per game in his previous 2. Buchanan defending Drexel. This is Tim Finke for Drexel. The Aggies are double teaming the guards when they post up. Good ball reversal to Freyer, contested 3, 2 in a row for the Oakland, California native.
Boy, 2 tough shots for Freyer. Boy, he's got great elevation on his shot, doesn't he?
You were talking earlier, you feel like Freyer has the ability to be one of the best players in the league, and part of that is because of his athleticism.
Yes, and I think that the knock on him is that he's not great at putting the ball on the floor. It's just a dimension he hasn't added to his game to take guys off the dribble, but I'm not sure Dan Marley needs him to do that at this point.
He has an NBA body. He's 6'7", 190, big guard.
Tremendous lift and very good quickness. And he's lean, but he plays stronger than he looks.
Brown's already at his season average. He averages 10.5 per game. He has 10 as he gets 1 of 2. We approach 4 minutes left in half one. We've had 10 ties, 3 lead changes. Biggest lead for the Aggies, 4. Biggest lead for GCU, 3. It's great ball movement to Tim Finke. Only a freshman, left it short. And a foul is called on the rebound. And this one's going to go on Drexel. So the Aggies will shoot a pair of free throws when we come back from break. Big slam for Johnson, but some answers from 3 for Brown. The Aggies lead by 2. Two-point lead for the Aggies with 3:52 left in the first half here at the Pan American Center. Adam Young along with former Aggie assistant coach Russ Bradford. There's a look into the Aggie bench. James Miller on the left, Jeff Myatt on the right, a pair of Aggie assistants talking things over. We talk about Chris Jans all the time, and deservedly so, but he has a really, really good staff around him again this year.
That's right, James Miller, one of the bright young coaches in the country. There's David Anwar, one of the top recruiters, and Jeff Myatt, as you mentioned, who'd been at Midland Junior College. Chris Jans has put together quite a staff, and James Miller had been at New Mexico Military and has a terrific reputation in the Southwest. He's one of the bright young basketball minds in the country.
He's kind of followed the same path as Chris Jans, JUCO head coach, D1 assistant. He came over from North Texas. He's won everywhere he's been, and he's a really, really sharp guy every day in practice when you watch him and also in the games too.
That's right. And again, between David Anwar and Jeff Myatt and James Miller, Casey Owens, it's quite a staff.
The Aggies, of course, lost Lou Godino to Wichita State during the offseason, so Miller was Lou's replacement. When you have success, you're going to lose guys like Chris Jans did with the loss of Lou Godino. Freyer with a mistake, just couldn't pick it up, and then he trips up Brown, who's now going to shoot 2.
And Terrell Brown at the right place at the right time. There's 3 Grand Canyon players around him, but Terrell Brown just bounces off Freyer's foot.
Brown 1 of 2 on free throws in the game. He has 10 points to lead all scorers. The young man from Hayward, California, same hometown as Lopes-Guard Damari Milstead. Transfer from the City College of San Francisco, began his career at San Jose State though. Before that free throw, the Aggies were 3 of 9 on free throws, which just won't cut it.
No. But pretty great student turnout today, even though school hasn't started yet.
Yeah, this is really good for school not being in session. It looks like it is in session with all the students here. NM State with a 4-point lead, which matches their biggest lead in the game. Laver has to put it on the deck. Martin made a 3 earlier. He has 2 now. He only has 7 for the year, 2 of those tonight. I think it's one of those things, Coach, where you kind of have to pick your poison, and Martin usually doesn't shoot it much from 3 and doesn't make many, so you let him shoot a little bit. Jones is too long. Aore Coachea left it short. Cleared by Laver, and a foul on Jones. And Laver will shoot 1 and 1.
Well, Ivan is disappointed in himself. He might have had a couple guys open, but he was so close, and he always makes those. Tough decision for the big Spaniard there. Watch him as he gets the rebound in traffic. And maybe could have kicked it out, but he's only 3 feet away.
Laver, a 79% free throw shooter. That was 1 and 1. The Aggies were a little confused. So was Chris Jans, who puts his hands in the air. Backdoor to Aore Coachea. Thought about passing it. And then we get a foul call. On the weak side, away from the ball, it's on Carlos Johnson. Call was made by Randy McCall, one of the officials. You have a cool story on Randy McCall, don't you?
Well, I do, and it seems like I've told it over the years, but once when the Aggies were playing the Lobos up at the pit, Randy McCall fell early in the game and broke his arm, one of the bones in his forearm. And do you think he got off the? No, he did not get off the court. They just wrapped it up a little bit, and he reffed the rest of the game with a broken arm. Unbelievable. So one of the things Lou Henson always talked about toughness, and then when the referee's tougher than all the players, what can you do? But Randy McCauley's been around forever. I think he has a baseball background. I think he played baseball himself and coaches a little baseball, if I remember the story. But was quite an event to break your arm and keep reffing it for 35 more minutes. I'll tell that story every year if you want, Adam. It seems like I've told that one before.
We have new viewers, so I love it when you tell it, and I thought I'd bring it up.
All right.
Laver has struggled from three. Freyer hasn't, though. 3 made threes for Oscar Freyer. He had 22 makes coming in, single digits in his previous 3 games before this one.
Well, great lift. When a guy can jump that high and shoot threes, how do you defend that?
Zamora. He crossed up Carlo Johnson and stared him down before hitting the mid-range jumper. I would love to see that one again.
What a game this is turning into. Whoop.
That might be here in Sports Center tonight.
Who knows?
Laver, pump faking a drive. Back out for Jared Martin, who says slow it down to his team. Johnson posting up the guard Harris, and a foul is called on AJ. That is the 9th, so still 1-1 for Grand Canyon.
Well, he might be AJ may be a little too small for. And it seems like AJ, I think he felt he's retaliating for a push before that, but it's gonna be dog eat dog down there, and I wonder if the Aggies need to get a bigger player on Carlos Johnson.
Here's the issue with that size for Grand Canyon. If you're AJ Harris or Sean Buchanan or Keon Jones, who do you guard? There really isn't anybody that's small on Grand Canyon's team.
Against this bigger team, that's right.
Johnson a little more stocky, not as tall as Drexel or Finke or Freyer.
No, but he's as wide as a Buick.
He is. Terrell Brown's been the guy tonight offensively for the Aggies. He has 12. Aure Coachea backing down Laver. Got an angle, but he missed it point-blank range.
I think he was surprised at how open he was on that one.
He really struggled last Thursday from the field. 0 of 7 scoreless against California Baptist. Freyer's feeling it. Way short, scooped up by Brown.
Well, that was the first one he shot that wasn't out of the offense, and maybe he's better out of the offense.
5 made threes for the Aggies, 5 made threes for the Lopes. Aure Coachea, he'll stick this one in off the Brown miss.
Well, that one with Terrell Brown, it wasn't a great shot, but he had gotten so close to the basket, it really opened things up for the other Aggies.
This is tie number 14 as we approach a minute left in half one. This game has been as advertised in the first 19 minutes. High-low feed for Tim Finke. The freshman is triple team. Back out for Jared Martin. He makes another. Martin has 3 made threes. So does Freyer. Harris high off the window. And Dan Marley wants a timeout. Freyer and Martin, 2 guys that have not had a whole lot of success shooting the basketball this year, are beating the Aggies right now.
No, that's right, but they've had good careers for Grand Canyon. I think it's one of the things that Dan Marley can count on, is he's got a fairly, even though there's new players like the Finke boys, he's got plenty of experience, and even his transfers like Michael Finke and Carlos Johnson are plenty experienced. A.J. Harris again with the right hand. He doesn't know he's left-handed, evidently.
Both teams have shot well, 46% for GCU, 45% for NM State. A lot of these stats are even, which is why we've had 14 ties, 4 lead changes so far. Jared Martin, his first 2 years, he was a starter for Dan Marley. Now he's been coming off the bench the last couple. He was more of a scorer early on in his career. We saw him a few years back when he scored a lot more. Now he only averages 3 points per game, and he's made 3 threes, so he's well above his average already. Lead is 1 for Grand Canyon. There's a little bit of a difference, game clock, shot clock. Johnson was great early. He stumbles, lost it, and the Aggies will have the final shot. Chris Jans wants a timeout. A.J. Harris can't hear him. Remember, the head coach can't call the timeout, so it's Johnny McCants who calls the timeout from the corner. A.J. had no clue Chris Jans wanted a timeout.
Well, let's see what. It's an interesting move by this is what Lou Henson would do. He'd call a timeout. There's the other philosophy is just play before the defense can get set. It'd be interesting to see if Dan Marley goes back to the 2-3 zone here and tries to disrupt. You know, I'm sure Chris Jans is drawing up a play here. And we'll see what Dan Marley does out of the timeout.
Not knowing what Dan Marley is going to play defensively, would you try to go through Terrell Brown, who's had the best half offensively for the Aggies?
I think it's a good strategy. It seems like what the Aggies have been able to do is, you know, they run that 3-man weave outside with the handoffs, and I suspect they'll do that. And maybe Terrell Brown or A.J. Harris will try to penetrate off of it. I mean, they've got 4 guards in the game now with Zamora, Keon Jones, A.J. Harris, and they are in the zone.
Yep,
that's
2-3, right up cue, coach.
They've got to watch their clock here.
Jones for 3. Zamora put back in midair is no good. And a foul is called on the Aggies, and that means Grand Canyon free throws. The foul was on Aore Coachea. Fortunately for the Aggies, it's only his first. 2 near misses by Jones and Zamora.
Well, I'm not sure why that's getting called with 0.04 seconds left, but and it might be exactly what Laver needs to get untracked here.
It's been a quiet first half for the WAC preseason player of the year, Alessandro Laver. That's his 4th points. You can't catch and shoot with 0.4, so that wouldn't have gone anyway. And Chris Jans is barking at Randy McCall as he walks off to the locker room at halftime. 41-38 to score. Now GCU had allowed less than 30 points in the first half at 5 straight. The Aggies get 38, but they trailed by 3. Halftime activities after this.
Part of it is, you know, I think that they've got to hope that that Grand Canyon doesn't keep making incredible 3 after incredible 3.
It's a 1-possession game as we start half 2. It's a quiet first half, too, for JoJo Zamora. Aggies go right to Aore Coachea. Good start, 15 seconds in.
Well, he's a very different player than Laver is. He relies on, even though he's 2 inches shorter, he relies on scoring with his back to the basket much more than Alessandro does.
Michael Finke had a couple of fouls in the first half, so he did not play much. There's Laver with the left hand.
Well,
quiet night for Laver so far, trying to heat up. McCants with the pick and pop. Follows his miss and couldn't quite get it. Gianni is now 1 of 11 from 3 this year and 1 of 15 for his career. Ball movement finds Frayer. 3 threes in the first half, and he misfires on his first one. Ivan Aore Coachea, rebound number 9.
And Big Ivan does such a good job boxing out. He didn't have to, that one bounced and he still got it.
It's a great seal by McCants, but he can't convert. That's the looky one. Damari Milstead maneuvering around defenders. Laver fadeaway three, swirls out. Offensive rebound for Finke. Good pass to Milstead, who's fouled on his way up.
Well, they've got that stat turned around, Grand Canyon, already. They were already pounding the offensive boards. Maybe Mr. Marley discussed that at halftime. What do you think?
I bet so.
That almost went down there.
First point for Milstead, who averages 10. He had 13 last game against Seattle. Sophomore from Hayward, California, same hometown as Aggie guard Terrell Brown. And he calmly knocks down both. 5-point lead for Grand Canyon, biggest lead for them tonight. They've never won here at the Pan Am Center. They've only defeated the Aggies twice in the previous 12 all-time meetings. Lob for McCants. How about that one? What a pass by Aure Coachea as well.
I was trying to figure out what Coachea was doing there, but it wound up being a perfect pass. Well, that surprised me and everybody else.
How about a high-low alley-oop? Air ball for Drexel. Ball to the Aggies. Las Cruces, born and bred, Coach.
There he is, Johnny McCants. Perfect pass.
Harris to Zamora. Blocked away by Freyer on the three. Zamora only has 2 points. He averages 10. Backdoor, Aure Coachea on the slip in the find by Jones.
That's exactly the right word there too, Adam. He slipped that screen, and the Aggies screened so much for the ball they caught Grand Canyon napping a little bit. So 2 perfect timing plays by Ivan Aure-Coachea.
No good for Milstead. No numbers for Harris. He'll take it anyway. Verticality by Finke, who's playing with 2 personals. Milstead had Freyer. He'll hit the mid-range jumper.
Well, the Aggies had a chance to make a move there.
I don't think that was a bad idea by Harris, trying to draw a foul on Finke, who already has 2.
No, it wasn't a terrible idea. It seems like AJ might be better with the right hand off the drive sometimes.
Zamora. He misses. High rebound for the 6'6" Drexel. Damari Milstead picked up by Harris. Now to Drexel, guarded by Jones. Michael Finke on the baseline. The Illinois transfer left it short. He's had a tough night.
Maybe he knows it's Lou Henson's birthday and he just...
Slipping again is Aure Coachea. He's done that twice against Laver.
Well, he's just outsmarting everybody, but it's still a 1-point Grand Canyon lead.
12 points and 9 rebounds. A good bounce-back game for the big man from Madrid, Spain.
And Aggie's got a break there. You can't leave Alessandro Laver open too long very often on those kinds of shots.
This time Aure Coachea rules. Harris still finds him. Backing down Laver with the right hand for the hook. And he's taken over, Coach.
He kind of shrugged like, I don't know, I'm hot, I guess. And the fan, it's deafening in here, Adam. Everyone's on their feet.
Foul on Laver. And for the big man from Italy, that's number 2. Double-double for Ivan Aore Coachea. Number 4 for him. Aggies ahead by 1. Adam Young and former Aggie assistant Russ Bradford with you here at the Pan Am Center. It's loud tonight. Good crowd for a whiteout. Aggies ahead by 1 behind some strong play from Ivan Aore Coachea. Double-double, number 4. Alessandro Lavers, the WAC preseason player of the year, but Ivan's playing like the player of the year right now.
Ivan didn't get the message. I mean, he's
did not.
totally dominated Laver, although it's a tremendous game. Aggies have a 1-point lead. Anything can happen at this point.
NM State looking to go to 1-1 in conference. Grand Canyon trying to go to 3-0. Aggies have not started 0-2 in conference since 2012, 2013. It's been a while. Buchanan came in, so did Bobbitt. CJ has 3 personals, and Jabari Rice, who catches right there. He's in for the first time today. He's been a little bit under the weather lately. Buchanan, and a moving screen is called on Eli Chua. That's a point of emphasis this year.
Well, that happened quick enough there. I didn't see, he looked like he was going to screen on the left side, then went over to the right side.
Jared Martin came in during the timeout for Grand Canyon. He's at the head of the key here. He has 9 points on 3 made threes. Great hang time again for Freyer on the jumper. And a foul is called on the rebound, and it goes on the Aggies, and I think this one's going to go on Jabari Rice. Yeah, this one's on Jabari, his first, team's third. Grand Canyon scoreless in the previous 2 minutes and 20 seconds. And a foul again is called, and if it's going to be called tight, it could turn into a free throw shooting battle down the stretch.
Oscar Freyer has really made his mark tonight. He's just been so aggressive and effective offensively. Look at that hang time.
Freyer with 13. He only averages 8 per game. He had single digits in each of his previous 3. But he is a preseason all-conference selection. Limited minutes here tonight for Buchanan, who catches from Rice. Spin move for Buchanan with 5 to shoot, just kind of chucked it up. Buchanan pressures Milstead across midcourt, and then gets called for a blocking foul.
Well, Sean Buchanan really struggling tonight for the Aggies. He's been so effective for a year and a half, but it just seems like he's struggling tonight as we see him nudge Milstead.
Sean is such a good defender. Harris comes in for him, and Zamora comes in for Rice. Carlos Johnson checks in for Grand Canyon. What a first half he had off the bench, scoring 10. Martin to the rim, 11 for a man who only averages 3.
Well, he went right around CJ Bobbitt there. We haven't seen that happen too often. Bobbitt's usually a pretty good defender.
Grand Canyon is countered with a 4-0 run. Now they double team Zamora on the sideline, and a foul is called on Johnson. Pretty good idea, and it seemed like, too, Grand Canyon had him right where they wanted him. Roberts Blumbergs is in, number 12 in black. He had 3 personals in limited action and half one. Did not play in the previous 3 games. Brown gets it back from Harris. And then he lost it. 2-on-2. Ahead for Milstead. Poked by Harris, and then McCants can't scoop it up.
Boy, the Aggies have looked really, after that great run with Big Eve on, they have looked really out of sync in the last 3 minutes here.
Johnson triggers in, lobs it into Blumbergs. Big man who can shoot it. All the big men can shoot for GCU. So he's gonna shoot it. Left it short. That's his 19th attempted three. 6'10", 220 big man. And he just picked up his fourth. Not the stat line you want. 4 fouls, 2 minutes for Roberts Blumbergs.
No, but it's an indication of how deep Grand Canyon is, that they don't seem to mind and just leave them in there.
The Aggies scoreless in the previous 2 minutes and 45 seconds. McCants ends the drought, and he'll go to the free throw line for one.
I think Johnny McCants surprised himself by look. He's got a foot in the lane there. We could have been a 3-second violation if he hadn't shot it right that instant.
He's been a big jolt since coming back from his early season foot injury. Struggles from the line. Look good on that one.
Good. You keep saying that, Adam, and he'll keep making them. No, that he has struggled from the line, but he's got a beautiful rotation. I have great confidence he's going to be a good free thrower before he's done with New Mexico State.
This is tie number 16. We've also had 6 lead changes. Biggest lead for the Aggies, 4. Biggest lead for GCU, 5. Drexel to Freyer. Jared Martin skips it for Drexel. Great ball movement for Grand Canyon. Freyer was trying to tip it in. He'll flip it in. Freyer has 15 to lead all scorers.
He just went right over Eli Chua there, Oscar Freyer did.
Brown on the pick and roll. Pulls it out to the arc. Zamora defended by Johnson. Pull-up jumper. Tapped out by Chua. A.J. Harris will look to his head coach for the play call. Christian says go. Harris to the rim, and we're tied again. Tie number 17.
Wow, what a move.
Drexel trying to fend off Harris. Very stagnant on this offensive possession. Johnson travels. And we will break. 17 ties, 6 lead changes. Knotted at 53. Kiwack battle in Las Cruces. 8-0 run for the Aggies to go ahead by 6. 9:33 left in the second half here at the Pan Am Center. The Aggies in the Lopes meeting for the 13th time. Aggies are 10-2 all-time against Grand Canyon. 3-0 last year. And this is a rematch of the WAC championship game from last year. The Aggies won by 14 in Vegas. There's a 3 for now NBA player Zach Lofton, who now plays for the Pistons. Alessandro Laver scored 20 to lead Grand Canyon, but A.J. Harris and the Aggies just too much in the end. Harris scored 20. There's a sidestep 3 for A.J., and the Aggies went back to the NCAA tournament. Their 3rd trip in the previous 4, and that was win number 28 last year for Chris Jantz's team. And it's good to see Jamario Jones.
It's good to see the Aggies with sunglasses on, too. Yeah, it's good. It's always good to see Jamario Jones.
NM State actually unveiled that championship banner during halftime. Jamario could not make it back, neither could Lofton. Both those guys are still playing, but Joe Garza came back to be out there for the unveiling. There's Tim Finke, freshman from Champaign, Illinois, with his first 3 points.
Well, Martin had the ball at about 2 feet, but I think he felt that Tim Finke had a better shot.
Finke, heralded freshman, was a 4-star recruit.
I was going to say, as good as Michael is, who had a good career at Illinois, Tim may be the better player in the long run.
Tim Finke with a steal in the finger roll for Johnson. Well, this says a lot about Dan Marley, too, in recruiting. He goes to Illinois, and he gets the #2 player in the state to come to Grand Canyon in Phoenix.
That's right. It's an interesting blend. He's got 3 Illinois kids, if you count Carlos Johnson from Centralia, Illinois, and 2 Australians, and a Luxembourg guy.
Lead is 1 for the Aggies. Brown was bumped and bailed out by Laver.
By the way, I know we have a lot of viewers in Arizona today, Adam. And, you know, Royce Urey, the great high school coach that won, 1,000 games or something in high school, now recovering. Looked like he had a health scare, but looks like he's doing well. He just influenced a generation of coaches in Arizona, and he seems to have bounced back.
Keon Jones is in the hot hand tonight for the Aggies from the arc. He's made 3 threes. Aure Coachea has his wing entry tipped out of bounds. This is a roster right now where you may not play one game and then you play a lot of minutes the next game. That's what's happening right now for Keon Jones, who scored 21 against CSUN earlier this year, then didn't play much after that. There's only 1 to shoot for Harris, and he misses in the long teardrop. Laver from straight away. He's been way off on his threes. Laver now 0 of 6 on threes.
We had talked about Grand Canyon was just 1 offensive rebound in the first half, but that's not the case in the second half. Because there's another one.
Jaron Martin with 13. Redshirt senior from Manly, Australia, who was scoreless in 3 of the previous 4 games. And a foul is called on Milstead, #6, so the Aggies not shooting quite yet. But we just had our 8th lead change. Don't go anywhere. Grand Canyon 60, NM State 59, 7 and change left in half 2. The Grand Canyon Havocs have made the 6-hour or so drive from Phoenix to Las Cruces. They're out in full force again this year. Lopes ahead by 1 against the Aggies. 18 ties, 8 lead changes here at the Pan Am Center. Adam Young and Russ Bradford with you. So glad you could join us tonight. Here's a look at the previous 3 for these 2 teams. Aggies beat Washington State in Vegas, beat Colorado State in Fort Collins, lost to California Baptist, which sent shockwaves around the conference. And Dan Marley's team, double-digit wins in their first 2 conference games against 2 programs that figure to be at the top of the conference this year.
And everything's already a mess in the WAC, in a good way, in an exciting way.
And honestly, if you look at Grand Canyon's schedule this year, the record isn't pretty. It's 9 and 6, but they really don't have a bad loss.
No, that's right. They've played plenty of good teams, and as we know, it's a very difficult. Just as the Pan Am Center is a difficult place to win, so is Grand Canyon's home court.
What a finish for Ivan Aure Coachea, lead back to the Aggies. Some of the non-conference losses for GCU: South Dakota State, Seton Hall, Utah, Nevada, Texas, and San Diego. All quality programs. Saved by Finke, who gets it out to Johnson. Fresh 30 for GCU. Damari Milstead with it. Ball screen from Laver. And this one goes to the Aggies. Dan Marley furious with Milstead.
Well, Milstead's still young. He's just a sophomore, and that may be, with Grand Canyon, they all share the ball. They're very unselfish, but that may be the key to the development of this team is how quickly Damari Milstead can lead this group of talented big guys.
Jones and Brown have led the way tonight for the Aggies along with Aore Coachea. Harris stayed patient. Low block, Aore Coachea. Catch two straight with his left hand.
He's having a career night, and he's picked the right night to do it.
18 points, 11 boards for the big man from Spain.
And this is in about 20 minutes of playing time, by the way, Adam, for Yvonne.
Johnson probably should have had an and one. Looked like McCants fouled him, no call. Let's see if the Aggies go right back to the big man. They're looking for him. He applies the ball screen. Harris out to Jones. Got the defender in the air. Pinballs out that one. And Jared Martin is down on the other end.
Well, that's a bad break for Grand Canyon. I hope it's not a break. Bad sprain, let's hope. Because he's played terrific. He's had a long, fine career for Grand Canyon. Oh, well, he's walking on it already. Watch Big Yvonne here. Oh, no, this is the head fake with Keon Jones.
Jared Martin will have to come out. The trainer came on the floor, so he heads off. It looks like he's okay.
Yeah, he's limping a little bit. It seems like the right move to get him out just for a minute and make sure.
You talk about career nights. He's had one, 13 points. He only averages 3 per game. There's a bigger score for Grand Canyon in his first 2 years as opposed to the last couple. They've already had 9 lead changes. Looks trying to get the lead back. They've led by as many as 5 points in the game. Laver, low post. Skip out to Tim Finke. The freshman met at the rim by McCants. Then he lost it. Numbers for the Aggies. The bounce to McCants, who's hammered by Freyer on the other end.
Well, I think Tim Finke hoping for the foul, and it was close, but there was a no call twice. Sort of damaged Tim Finke's chances there.
That's like running into a wall, and that wall ain't moving.
I was thinking the same thing. But say something about McCants' free throws here. We'll just make sure he gets this one. Well,
Johnny McCants is a 50% free throw shooter.
Thank you.
Let's see if it works.
Thank you. He does have a great backspin on it, which a lot of big guys don't get. That's why I do think he'll be okay. He's only a sophomore.
The old reverse jinx for Aggie fans.
Thank you. We worked that pretty well.
Comes in for Johnny McCants. You can tell he's worked really hard on his shooting in the offseason. He looks a lot better.
Yes, much more confident. I'm not sure that he's ready for primetime three-point shooting yet, but
Aggies with good extended pressure against Finke and also Milstead. Laver's 0 of 6 on threes. Milstead's going to shoot a 3, rims it in.
Well, AJ dared him to do that. He backed off, I think, just sort of testing him, but maybe not at the right time with 4 minutes to go. Now Grand Canyon up 1.
Lead change number 10. This pick and roll has been money for the Aggies. Foul away from the ball. With 4:04 left in half 2.
Well, I missed that one, Adam. Did you see that one?
Yeah, they call it an Aore Coachea, who I think was just kind of tangled up with Laver in the paint. That's only his second, so no foul issues right now for Yvonne. Grand Canyon can extend their 1-point lead. It was a 3-point GCU lead at halftime. Aggies were the first team in 6 games to score over 30 in the first half against Grand Canyon. Racing ahead is Keon Jones. Coast to coast and one.
Huge play by Keon Jones. I was wondering where he was going, but he just exploded through. And Aggies got a big break. Oscar Freyer came out of nowhere but missed the rebound.
Keon Jones, 94 feet for the deuce. He'll shoot a free throw. When we come back, don't go anywhere. NM State hosting Grand Canyon tonight, and then Bakersfield Saturday, the first home games in conference for the Aggies, and Lopes playing their first conference road game tonight. And this is why this game is so important, and really these two games this week are so important for the Aggies. Look at these WAC standings. Right now, Grand Canyon 2-0. If they win this game, they go to 3-0. The Aggies would then fall to 0-2. There's a lot of games left. This year there's 16 conference games instead of 14 because California Baptist is now in the league. But this is a pretty important game, about as important as it gets, Coach, in early January.
Well, because of the tough loss at Cal Baptist, it's put the Aggies back to the wall pretty early here, and they've got to protect their own home court, and to get Grand Canyon this soon really puts the pressure on.
And you know, too, when you go to Phoenix on February 9th, that's going to be a really, really tough place to leave with a win.
That's right. That's right. And it won't be the only place. It'll be a tough place to leave with a win.
13th all-time meeting. The Aggies are 10-2 against the Lopes all-time. They have not lost to Grand Canyon in this building. NM State only has one conference home loss since January 2012. One foul shot for Jones, and he completes a three-point play.
Interesting, he doesn't bounce the ball before his free throw. I've never noticed that before. Very unusual.
Alessandro Laver on the floor with 4 personals. Ore Coachea is defending him on the elbow. He catches, backdoor. Johnson with the slam. Not often do you see a Chris Jans coach team get beat on the back door.
Well, I think it's the second time that Carlos Johnson, and that was against Keon Jones, who's played so well tonight.
This is tie number 20. Harris can't break the tie. Milstead, the push for Johnson. Runs over McCanton. That's an easy charge call. The third drawn by Johnny.
What heart and guts Johnny McCants has Las Cruces. So he lost the shoe there. But watch him just, and that's a getting hit by a truck there, getting hit by Carlos Johnson.
And you would think, Coach, that most 6'7" leapers who can jump like Johnny would try to block that shot.
Well, that's right, but he's too smart for that. He's smarter than the color analyst for sure.
3:06 remaining, tied at 67. Will the Lopes drop their first conference game, or will the Aggies go to 0-2? The lob for Johnny.
And boy, it's deafening in here. Everyone's on their feet. What a beautiful pass. Yeah, I think they're going to have to double team him then when he gets down that far low. They're going to have to make him throw the ball back out. He's having an off night, but he's not that far off.
Step back three, A.J. Harris.
And he holstered his guns afterwards.
He made almost the exact same shots from the arc late in this building against Grand Canyon last year.
I don't remember that. I'm too old to remember stuff like that. But is that right?
Almost the exact same shots.
Yeah. Well, there's Johnny McCants, perfectly executed.
We always credit the passer on those alley-oops to Johnny, but I think it's pretty easy to pass it to him because he covers so much ground.
Just get it up there somewhere. Get it up there anywhere, and he'll go get it. And while just the electricity in the air here, it's just incredibly intense.
Milstead defended by Harris. To Laver on the curl. Picked up by Aore Coachea, and a timeout is called.
Really
and
smart
Chris
play.
Jans loves it.
Smart play by the big Spaniard, and great hustle. And it was A.J. Harris that made that happen. I think he deflected the dribble when Alessandro Laver tried to drive it there.
All right, put your thinking cap on, Coach. Or Chris Jans, what are you drawing up here with 1:59 left and up by 3?
Well, one thing, they don't need a quick shot at this point, and they've got to find the 3-point shooters. I wonder if there'll be a substitution, if he'll substitute platoon, offense to defense. But the problem is still the matchup with Laver, who hasn't had a great night, but he seems to be playing with great confidence here in the last few minutes.
Ivana Aore Coachea, 18 points and 11 rebounds. A.J. Harris, 9 points, 7 helpers. Terrell Brown has 15. Keon Jones has 12 for the Aggies. For Grand Canyon, double figures for Frayer, Johnson, and Jared Martin.
And of course, the danger, we've talked about this before, Johnny McCants, who's not the best free thrower, still in the game with the game on the line. An interesting move by Chris Jans.
7 fouls committed by the Aggies. 9 fouls committed by the Lopes. Aggies going to Aore Coachea, who lays it in.
Beautiful pass, beautifully executed. They started the weave and it made it look like they were going to stick with the weave, and they didn't. Aggies up 5. Now, I'm not sure what Chris Jans is upset about.
Well, I think he's upset because he feels like Dan Marley called a timeout, and Dan Marley was near midcourt. So outside of the coaching box, and I'm assuming maybe a player never signaled it. Either way, Dan Marley gets a full timeout, 74-69. Aore Coachea with a brilliant move, a brilliant seal to put the Aggies ahead by 5 points.
And we've talked about it before, Adam. It's always the battle for turf with him. He understands it's not a vertical battle; it's a horizontal battle. And I am entertained.
20 points, 10 of 14 shooting to go along with 11 rebounds, and like you said, and not a lot of minutes for Aore Coachea. 26 minutes, which honestly is more than usual for him, but still not a ton.
No, 20 points in 26 minutes. It's an impressive total for him. The Aggies, if the Aggies can get a stop here, they'll really be in the driver's seat. And I think they're going to have to double team the Italian.
Big man from Italy, Alessandro Laver. Inside, outside for Milstead. Running floater is good. And he has been really good offensively in half 2.
Nice and calm for Milstead. That was a big shot for a sophomore.
1 possession game. They're looking for Aore Coachea again. Brown's 3 is short. Aore Coachea trying to grab the miss. Picked up by Laver.
It was a pretty quick shot for the Aggies being up 3.
Right back to Laver. They're going to work through the big man from Italy. Great defense by Aore Coachea. And a foul is called on Drexel.
Well, I think you just called a deflection out of bounds.
I see here. Yeah, I'm with you, Coach. Now, initially, it sure seemed like Randy McCall was emphasizing Drexel, but I think he was just emphasizing that Drexel touched it.
Well, I think Terrell Brown got hit in the face, but it was inadvertent. Well, maybe not. It's hard to tell when those dreadlocks go flying.
And that's probably why they're at the monitor to see if there was anything excessive
No, I think it was just good, hard.
Yeah.
Just like Dan Marley used to play. He was a very physical player, but I don't think anyone ever accused him of being a dirty player.
So no foul on Drexel. The ball went out of bounds last touch by Drexel.
And this may be the time. This may be the time to get McCants out. Let's see if Chris Jans leaves Johnny McCants in here.
And that's a basketball move there for Drexel, no question. So they could be checking flagrant, no flagrant. They could also be checking too who touched it last.
Or maybe looking for mistakes from the color analyst. Who knows?
3 officials tonight: Randy McCall, Michael Irving, and D.G. Nelson. Right now it is Randy McCall and Michael Irving at the monitor. You can tell it's touched by Drexel. That's pretty clear.
Well, it seems like he did hit Terrell Brown, but again, I just think it was good hard play by both teams. I did think Terrell Brown's been terrific tonight. I thought he shot that last one a little bit quick with the Aggies with the lead. Yeah, it's off the elbow of, it looks like it's off the elbow of Drexel here. Let it keep running, guys. Yeah. There we go, and...
Yeah, the officials say Aggie ball, so they were checking that. They weren't checking anything flagrant for Drexel.
And the Aggie, did you notice the Aggie assistants were looking at us for us to tell them, but...
We have all the answers, I guess.
No, if they're looking at us, they're in big trouble. They better know better than to look over here.
46 seconds left. Once again, Grand Canyon has committed 9 fouls. The Aggies have committed 7. Lead is 3 with the ball. Harris lost it, dribbling through his legs. Milstead will lay it in.
I'm stunned. I'm just stunned.
AJ about as sure-handed as it gets. Milstead lays it in again. Grand Canyon has a lead.
It's not reflected on the scoreboard, though, Adam. Why isn't it reflected on the scoreboard?
The scoreboard still hasn't caught up. Dan Marley screaming at the scores table. It's a lead of 1 now on the scoreboard.
I am stunned. Two bad turnovers by A.J. Harris and a sudden turnaround.
And Damari Milstead converts on both. I don't think you'll find a better ball handler for the Aggies than Harris, and he just coughed it up twice. Excellent presence by Oscar Freyer, who found an open Milstead.
And Aggie fans are distraught.
And now if you're Chris Jans, you have to find a way to regroup your team because it's your ball.
And they've got a chance to go.
And you have a chance to win.
Yes, they're playing for the win here. If they can score a basket, they'll win. And he's playing with the ball a little bit. A big no-no for point guards is to play with it and not go anywhere with it.
Because Milstead's pressuring him, but he's not trying to poke at it. If AJ's just standing there and dribbling it with one hand, no need to go through the legs. He's fine.
Boy, 2 turnovers in about 3 seconds there for A.J. Harris.
So the Aggies had a 3-point lead with the ball with around 30 seconds left. Now they're down 1 with the ball with 13 seconds left. They bring in Keon Jones. It's Zamora, Jones, Harris, Aoreko, Achea, and Brown. 4
guards, all good free throwers, but they're gonna have 13 seconds.
The Aggies will inbound in the backcourt. Terrell Brown goes to work. Brown to the rim, and a foul is called. He's gonna shoot 2. That was the 10th on Grand Canyon.
Well, and now let's see what a big decision will be. Will Chris Jans substitute for defense now? He may have just saved his friend A.J. Harris if he can make these free throws.
Sorrell Brown tonight, 3 of 4. Team best 80% foul shooter.
We may be in overtime here.
And now Chris Jans brings in Johnny McCants for defense. And Dan Marley brings in Michael Finke for length.
Yeah, good move by Dan Marley, because if it's a missed free throw, he's got to get the ball. Grand Canyon has to get the ball back.
Aggies foul Drexel, 3.3 left. An 80% free throw shooter just missed both. And he pinballed out both. So now the Aggies are 8 of 19 on free throws here tonight.
Well, it's not over yet, Adam. Don't hang your head. The Aggies are going to have a chance to throw in a last-second three here.
Drexel 67% for the year. This is 1-1. Johnny McCants at midcourt for the win. He got it!
Unbelievable game. Maybe the greatest shot I've ever seen in college basketball in person. Well, not sure the Aggies deserve to win that one, but they've won that one. What a finish. Unbelievable. Hometown hero, Johnny McCants.
I don't think you could script the final 30 seconds we just saw.
Well, watch Johnny McCants. He's on the run here. We talked about his backspin and rotation on his shot. I cannot believe the finish. I cannot believe it.
There's no question it's good. They're going to shake hands at midcourt. He got it off in plenty of time.
Unbelievable.
Aggies go to 1-1 in conference. They improved to 12-4. Lopes fall to 9-7, 2-1 in the league. How about the patience for Johnny McCants? He knew exactly how much time was left. He let it go with plenty of time left, and the Aggies survive. They win by 2, and we are joined by the head coach, Chris Jans, here courtside. What a game, Coach. What a game here tonight. I'm sure you could not script the final 30 seconds that you just saw, Coach.
Wow. I ain't been a part of a lot of those games, man. I always wondered when you get a little luck on your side what it would feel like, and now I know. I mean, just stunning, pure elation. I'm so happy for Johnny to, make that shot. Obviously, it's not something you work on, but he acted like he had been there, done that before, the way he looked at the clock and took a couple bounces, and I was walking to the other end and getting ready to shake hands, and it went in. So basketball is crazy, man.
You can't script that final 30 seconds right there. I mean,
yeah.
But your team played well tonight. Overall, you played well.
Obviously, I don't know exactly what happened there with AJ. That's not like him. We had the game obviously in hand. I thought we had deserved to win the way we played the last 10 minutes of the game. So, I don't exactly love, how we won, but at the same time, I thought we played well enough to deserve the win. So I don't feel that bad about making that shot, to be honest with you.
Basketball is a funny sport because you're about to lose this game and fall to 0-2 in the conference. You win this game. What can this do going forward?
We needed it. We needed it. We're not 0-2. We're 1-1 with a Saturday big home game. And, I tell our guys all the time, karma's something. And if you just keep working at it, you keep working your tail off, you keep getting the extra time in, you keep grinding, that sometimes the basketball guys shine down on you, man, and you get a break. And I really believe that's what happened tonight, because that would have been a hard loss to handle because of how well we played, and then we just had a couple, just lose your mind plays at the end of the game. And it's like, wow, he's never done that since we've had him. And, and I felt, the weird thing is that I wasn't like crazy upset when I thought we were going to lose the game, because I knew we had outplayed him. I knew that, we had played well enough to win the game, and just really happy the ball went in the hole, though.
Finally, Coach, I want to talk about one individual. Did you feel like Ivan Aure-Coeche was the best player on the floor tonight?
He was tonight. Yeah. He was tonight. I got asked by Jack prior to the game about that matchup, and I'm not a big matchup guy, more into team defense, but if you look at it that way, I thought Ivan, played really well down there, and certainly was the go-to guy for us down the stretch. And he struggled early again like he did last game, and I thought maybe he lost some confidence, but he showed what he was made of, and he kept going at the rim, and the ball started going in for him.
So no beard going forward for you, right? Keep on shaving.
I was waiting for someone to ask me about that. A lot of funny looks today, but I don't know. Just decided today was the day.
Coach, congrats. Great win.
Adam. Thanks.
Head coach Chris Jans, the Aggies win on a buzzer beater by Johnny McCants. What a ball game here at the Pan Am Center. 77-75 the final score. We'll break. My goodness. Las Cruces native Johnny McCants at the buzzer. You'll see that one tonight on SportsCenter. We're back after this.